just been the honor of a lifetime. I think any young person, any little girl, you get to put on a Disney princess dress.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
It's just been the most amazing experience.
Weird.
Hey guys, Neon here! A few days ago, Disney finally released the trailer for their live-action remake of Snow White, although finally might not be the best word, considering it seems like anticipation for this movie is virtually non-existent. Most people just want to see how bad it is. The backlash against this project has been brewing for years now, even before we saw a single frame of the movie. With the trailer's release, however, the controversy has only intensified. Today, we'll dive into the details of the trailer, the explosive backlash that followed, and how Rachel Zegler has reignited outrage with her recent comments, stirring up heated debates and sparking tension between herself, her co-stars, and millions online. It's safe to say that Snow White has landed Disney in hot water. So let's break it all down. For context, the film was originally set to release in March 2024, but has since faced delays, further adding to the drama surrounding it. In October of last year, Disney announced a huge one-year delay to March of 2025. Disney claimed that the delay was due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, but that excuse seems questionable. A one-year delay for such a reason feels excessive. More likely, they needed additional time to overhaul significant parts of the movie. For example, the leaked set photos of the Seven Dwarfs sparked major backlash. Not only did Disney race and gender swap the characters, but they also controversially chose not to cast actors with dwarfism, claiming it would be problematic. That decision baffled many, as it disregarded an opportunity to provide roles for actors with dwarfism, a group that already struggles to find work in the industry. Instead, Disney opted to replace the actors with CGI creations, which are now prominently featured in the trailer. The result? A costly and time-consuming effort to refilm scenes and animate the dwarfs. Ironically, the CGI dwarfs look terrible, with their clunky, unnatural movements especially obvious in scenes where they're dancing alongside Snow White. It feels rushed and uninspired, problems that could have been avoided by simply casting real actors. These production setbacks and reshoots have driven the movie's reported budget sky high. Earlier estimates put the budget at around $200 million, which was already steep. Now, recent reports suggest it has ballooned to an eye-watering $330 million, likely due to the additional delays and CGI work. For a Snow White remake, that's an absurd figure. If the budget climbs even higher, it could easily rank among the most expensive films ever made, an astonishing gamble for a movie already facing so much backlash. If this were an MCU movie, it would rank as the fourth most expensive one ever made. Shockingly, Snow White is even pricier than Avengers: Infinity War. That's absolutely mind-boggling, and a testament to Disney's increasingly risky decisions. But the production budget isn't the only concern. Marketing costs will easily add hundreds of millions more, and with theaters typically taking around half of the box office revenue, big-budget movies generally need to make 2.5 to 3 times their production costs just to break even. This means Snow White would need to gross around $900 million to $1 billion just to cover its expenses, a near impossible feat given the current reception. The trailer has been absolutely pummeled online. While it hasn't racked up as many views as some of Disney's other trailers yet, it's already their most ratioed trailer to date. With 7 million views, 700,000 likes, and a staggering 8,000 dislikes as of now, that's about 1 like for every 12 dislikes, a dismal ratio. Reception this terrible makes it hard to be optimistic about the film's box office performance. The movie is poised to lose Disney hundreds of millions of dollars, further damaging their reputation, which has already taken a hit due to Rachel Zegler, the film's lead actress. Casting Zegler as Snow White, a princess with skin as white as snow, has been one of the film's most criticized choices. It certainly wasn't her appearance that matched the character's iconic description. Perhaps Disney prioritized casting someone they believed embodied Snow White's sweet, kind, and humble personality. If so, they appear to have miscalculated, as Zegler's public image has often been criticized as the opposite: outspoken, polarizing, and anything but humble. This decision raises serious questions about how Disney approached this project and why they thought Zegler would be the ideal fit for such a beloved character. Rachel Zegler's behavior has been nothing short of baffling, especially for someone cast in such an iconic role. Instead of expressing genuine gratitude for the opportunity to play Snow White, she has come across as astonishingly narcissistic. Zegler reportedly received a paycheck of $1 million or more for this film, a very generous sum, especially considering that when she was cast years ago, she was relatively unknown in the industry. Even now, her star power is debatable, as most of the movies she's been involved in have either flopped or underperformed at the box office. For context, Andrew Garfield, arguably a bigger name at the time, was paid only $500,000 for The Amazing Spider-Man, a significantly more demanding role. Despite this, Garfield was grateful and continued to embody the character beyond his first film. In stark contrast, Zegler's audacity to protest against Disney, demanding additional compensation for every hour the movie streams online, is not only disrespectful, but wildly unrealistic. She agreed to her pay years ago, which was already generous, and her recent demands for something unprecedented in the industry, essentially being paid for every minute the film is watched, comes off as delusional entitlement. To make matters worse, Zegler doesn't even appear to be a fan of the character she's playing. Her interviews about Snow White have been disastrous, often making it seem like she holds disdain for the beloved classic. Instead of showing respect for the legacy of the original film, she's criticized and dismissed it, further alienating fans. This raises the obvious question: why did Disney decide to cast her in the first place?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince, or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because like we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
It's Hollywood, baby. Who cares if all the scenes featuring her co-star Andrew Burnap get cut? Certainly not Rachel Zegler, given her comments. After all, in this modern retelling of Snow White, the prince apparently isn't needed. According to Zegler, the prince in the original was just a creepy guy stalking Snow White. That's quite a take, ignoring the fact that he was portrayed as being in love with her and ultimately saved her life in the story. But no, in today's narrative, men saving women out of love is apparently seen as outdated and problematic. It seems the new Snow White is less about reimagining a beloved tale and more about dismantling it entirely.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
It sounds like something Snow White might do, but based on Disney's recent D23 showcase, where they presented the trailer, we now have a clearer idea of the character's focus in the remake. Instead of dreaming about true love as in the original film, this Snow White is all about becoming a strong, independent leader. Take a look at the scenes presented in the showcase, which highlight the glaring differences between the original and the remake. A side-by-side comparison reveals just how much Disney has reworked the story to cater to contemporary sensibilities. While the original celebrated themes of love and kindness, the remake shifts its focus to empowerment and leadership, losing much of the charm that made the character iconic in the first place.
Now you wash the dishes.
Now you wash the dishes.
You tidy up the room.
You tidy up the room.
You clean the fireplace.
You clean those cobwebs.
And I'll use the broom.
And he'll use the broom.
In the original movie, Snow White came to the dwarf's house because she needed a place to stay. She decided to clean their home because she believed it belonged to orphaned children and felt sorry for them not having a mother. With the help of her animal friends, she cleaned the house to surprise and bring joy to its inhabitants. This gesture reflected her kind and nurturing personality. In the new Snow White version, however, this entire premise has been scrapped. Instead, Snow White is shown bossing the dwarfs around, ordering them to clean up their own house without lifting a finger herself. This shift strips the character of her motherly kindness and replaces it with an authoritarian, leader-like attitude, a trait Rachel Zegler had previously described as central to the movie's reimagining. In the original, Snow White hoped her kind act of cleaning would encourage the owners of the house to let her stay. In the remake, she barges into their home, acts like an intruder, and commands them to do the work. Despite taking her in, offering her protection, food, and shelter, Snow White in this version appears to contribute nothing in return. Why would the dwarfs even allow her to stay if she doesn't earn her keep by cooking or cleaning? It seems Disney's modern take refuses to depict a woman doing any kind of domestic chores, even when it's contextually appropriate or makes narrative sense. Instead, the nurturing, selfless aspects of the character are sacrificed in favor of an identity politics-driven portrayal of leadership. This storytelling approach undermines both the logic of the plot and the character's charm. Common sense takes another hit when considering the film's main conflict. The evil queen, played by Gal Gadot, is somehow jealous of Snow White's beauty. This premise, already thin in the original, feels even more absurd in the remake. As one sharp online commenter recently put it, Snow White saying, "I don't need a man to," which the prince replied, "That's fine." Here for your stepmom? For real though, this might be the first time the magic mirror straight up lied. This movie already has more than enough problems: its loose adaptation of the source material, a weak premise, controversy surrounding the casting choices, the reimagined dwarfs, and of course, Rachel Zegler's countless disastrous interviews. These interviews didn't just make her seem unlikable, they tanked the movie's chances of success more than anything else Disney has mishandled. Now that the movie's marketing campaign has officially restarted with the release of the trailer, Zegler has returned to promoting the film after months of silence. Who would have guessed she'd managed to stir up even more drama, completely unnecessarily, I might add. After the trailer dropped, she caused an uproar by bringing up the Gaza conflict in a pro-Palestine statement, seemingly out of nowhere. Here's how it happened. Zegler initially tweeted a thank you for the trailer reaching 120 million views in 24 hours. A perfectly fine professional move. But then she followed up with a sudden unrelated post saying, "And always remember, free Palestine." The timing and abrupt topic change caught everyone off guard, especially considering her co-star, Gal Gadot, is Israeli and has publicly supported the opposing side of the conflict. Now, while Zegler has every right to express her views, the decision to do so in the context of a promotional campaign was tone-deaf at best and inflammatory at worst. Gadot, whose personal ties to the conflict include her home and family, has understandable reasons for her emotional stance on the issue. In contrast, Zegler, as an American with no direct involvement, appears to have introduced unnecessary tension into what was already a strained situation. This creates an awkward dynamic as the two are expected to promote the movie together in interviews and press tours. Disney is now tasked with presenting these actresses as having great chemistry in what is supposed to be a family-friendly environment, all while navigating this underlying discord. If Disney was hoping the trailer would change public opinion, it seems to have done the opposite. The ongoing drama and the trailer's reception only reinforce the notion that Disney should have cut its losses and shelved this project entirely. After pouring so much extra time, effort, and money into reworking the film, they seem to be heading toward another disaster akin to the Marvels. What do you think? Are you interested in seeing this movie? What are your thoughts on the changes and Rachel Zegler's statements? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please support me by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter @GlamspotUSA for updates. The link is in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.